What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Dubs Advice Gaming, and today I've got an update on one of my old favorites. It's Dinosaur.
Alright, so let's get into the deck. First off, we have 3 Soul Eating Oviraptor. This card facilitates everything else in the deck. This card is a 2-card combo with a Misk, with a Baby, with Lost World, with Fossil Dig, so this plus just about any of your other big cards is a 2-card combo instant. You get the game off, you're running like crazy. Next, we have the 1 Misk. This card is at 1 for a reason. If you would have read it, you would know. Then we have 1 Giant Rex. This card summons itself back when it's banished, so great target for your pill, or cost for your pill, I guess. Then we have 2 Scrap Raptor. The Scrap engine in this deck is nuts. It's crazy. Especially now that hand traps aren't really running around, you can get off your Wyvern plays really without a hitch. Only if you're playing against something like a Sprite that has hand traps, you really kind of have to worry. Then for the Honorary Dino, we have the Scrap Chimera. So that's it for the level 4s. Next, let's go into the babies. We have 3 Baby Cerosaurus. We have the 1 Petite Pteranodon. I'll say that name right first try one time in my life. Then I have 2 Archosaur. Now this is, in my opinion, the proper ratio. You can run this with 1 less Baby Cerosaurus, but at that point you risk not exactly having everything you need. A lot of times you need at least 2 of those in your deck. So if you end up running 2 and you open up 1 in your hand, it can be a little tricky to play around, just depending on how your hand looks and how everything's going. I do end up signing the 3rd Baby Cerosaurus out often when I am going second, because really you need it for board building for going first. Then for the big boys, we run 2 Ultimate Connected Tyranno. This card is amazing. Probably one of the best boss monsters ever printed, especially in a structure deck. Then we have 1 Pankratops. He is also a pill target in case you've summoned your first Tyranno and then draw it into your other one or something. You can summon this out of your deck. Obviously go in second. This card is fantastic. Then we have our Bestial package. We run 1 Saronir. We run 2 Magnamuts, and we run 3 Druis Worms. Now, 6 of these feels just about right, because you'll usually open 1 or 2 of them. Going against tier, these are absolutely necessary. The ratios here, I think 6 is right to play. I played these 6 because this is what I have. If I had another Magnamut, I'd probably switch it out with 1 of the Druis Worms, so I can have, 3 Magnamut, 2 Druis Worm, but this still works pretty well for me. One thing is, I can't wait for these cards for basically tiered to get out of the format, so I can stop playing those, because I really want to play the Doodle Beasts with the Lithosagem. That, I think, would be great. I don't think we can cut the Bestials right now. Then, for the spells, we run 3 Lost World. I know that a lot of decks have been cutting these, but I still feel like it's very necessary. It protects your monsters from targeting effects, so if your opponent is on hand traps, this can help quite a bit. And yeah, overall, a good card. It's a combo starter with basically a lot of your other stuff and free protection, so why not? Then we have the 3 Fossil Dig and the 2 Pill. This is the standard for any Dino build, at least the last 2 cards. A lot of cards like this, some decks are cutting Lost World, but I feel like this is the correct standard to go with. Now for the generic spell traps, we run 3 Pot of Prosperities. This card is amazing. The Megaton reprints really helped a lot. Then, for some of our go in second cards, we run 2 Triple Tactics. This is also a free draw 2, or whatever else we need in case our opponent decides to do stuff on our turn, or, if they hand trap us, it's a extra pot of greed. Why not? Good card. Then we are on 3 Raigeki. Now, you may ask, why Raigeki over Lightning Storm? Well, so this deck can go first or second, and Raigeki is better than Lightning Storm for that specifically, because if you're going first, you get this on your turn 3, this is way more useful than a Lightning Storm, because you'll already have cards face up on your field. This doesn't care about that, just clears away all monsters. Now, the issue with this deck is I don't really run back row removal in the main, so that's something that I might think about a little bit more. Something that I'm probably going to switch this last card out for. I have a Change of Heart here. This card is really great going second. Going first, it really does nothing for you. So that's why I'm most likely going to change this out for a Feather Duster or something. But really, besides that, I think the main deck is pretty solid. So after that, let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. First, we're going to go with the rank 4s. We have the Dolka and the Logia, of course the staples of this deck, because level 4 dinos, that's what this runs on. Then we have the cards for the format. We have the Abyss Dweller and the Baguska. And then the techs. We have the Dugaris, it's Good for the OTK, because it can double your attack. You can draw 2 cards with it too. We have Cowboy for game, and then we also have a Tornado Dragon because we are on the Scythe package in the side. Now, for the links, we have the Link Karibo and the Secure Gardener. These are pretty necessary because if you need a non-dino in the grave, this is a pretty decent way to get to it. If you're able to get to your Archosaur, you go link away to this, then link away into this. The only thing is this really can't be used for link material once it's on the field, but you don't really care. Usually you're just trying to get the non-dino in grave. Then we have for the Link 2s, we have the Wyvern, who's a great combo maker. We have the IP, which I honestly rarely ever go into, and then we have the Pentastag for the OTK line if we need to. This card just lets you do piercing with your big boy, and yeah, it's great. After that, for the Link 3, we have the Nightmare Unicorn. Now, most use I have in this card is honestly linking off the Chimera, so I can get into the graveyard, so I can have 2, or a Link 2 in the graveyard for a Burlord Savage. Otherwise, this card effect doesn't really come up often. It can come up with IP, but that's about it. Then for our only Link 4, we are on the Appaloosa. And also in a similar vein, we are on the Savage as well. So these are the guys you usually end on. This plus a Dolka or Lakia, depending on your turn. And then if you really have been stopped and you open the nuts, you can also end on all that plus Dweller as well. And of course, your ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So if you're interrupted and draw decent, you know, you can absolutely go crazy. But yeah, you can say most of your end boards are going to be these 2 plus Dolka plus your ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Now, for the side, it's divided basically into 2. We have the going first sides and the going second sides. For the going first sides, we are on a heavy trap package. We go with 2 Trap Trick. Now, this is for Dimensional Barrier as well as for your Sanctum with Scythe. So, we do Scythe Lock. It is in the side, not in the main. I feel like in the main it's a little too bricky because it really is only good going first. So that's why we side it for when we know if we end up losing game 1, we go into this fully here, just to go ahead and basically lock our opponent out of playing the extra deck. So this is great with that. The D-Barrier does come up. It's good against a lot of decks here. A lot of decks that are hit by Scythe are also hit by D-Barrier. Now, for going second, we have some more time tools. We have the Spooky Dogwoods. We have 2 Lightning Storm, we have 2 Dark Ruler, and then we also have 2 Evenly Matched. So that's really it for the deck. You know, I don't really think there's a need to show combos because this deck's combo lines have run the same for, well, you know, the last couple of years. Since we no longer have Verte, really, like, that part of the deck has been switched out a little bit, but yeah, I mean, all the starting combos are all the same. But really, this deck's pretty easy to learn, pretty easy to run, and I feel like it's still pretty good these days. So I had a really long segment here talking about how I did at the regionals in Fort Worth, but I'm just going to summarize this super quick here. Ended up getting 2 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses, mostly because I'm a terrible player, not really the deck's fault, mine really. So the matchups here, the first matchup was Labyrinth, we got that. Second matchup was against Sumi Control. Went to game 3, I lost in time. I should have scooped game 2 sooner, but I didn't. Time was called as soon as I drew my hand, so nothing to it. Unfortunately, draw right there. Game 3 was Killaments, that was a loss in time. Went all the way to game 3. I had a great board built game 3 with Savage, with Dolka, with Apo, and UTC. Use UTC once, he goes activate effect of a monster in hand. I go negate, but negate with Apo, so he's able to summon a monster with 1800 attack, run over the Apo, and I lost in time because time was called during their round. If I would have negated with anything else, would have been fine, but that misplay cost me the game. So there was lunch between this and the next match, which was against Sprite. I ended up losing game 1 because of time, actually. The food situation at this venue was kind of bad. There was 1 small stall and they took forever, so I ended up showing up late to my match, so I would have lost game 1. Game 2 I got, game 3 he got, so yeah, Sprite plays hand traps, and hand traps, this deck is a really
built well to deal with them, because most decks don't run them anymore. The round after that was a free win, just because my opponent didn't show, and then 6th round I ended up losing to Tier. Now, Tier matchup is actually pretty hard for this deck. That's why we run the 6 Bestials, but it can be done. You know, you can build a decent board going first. Going second, it's a little bit harder, but the Bestials do help. And yeah, I mean, as long as you're not playing like an idiot like I am and negating with the wrong monster, you can win the match. But yeah, so that's it for the regionals. I mean, I've taken this deck to locals a lot recently. I've seen decent success there. Specifically, there's one locals I go to. It's a 3-round locals. That's mostly where I've been taking the Dinos to. Every time I've took Dinos specifically, I ended up topping, so either going 3-0 or 2 wins and a draw. So most of the times it's been pretty good here in the last couple of weeks. My other decks, Darkhold specifically, are too inconsistent at the moment, and so is Grand Maju. Those are decks I've been playing kind of for fun. So anytime I need to, you know, actually get some wins, I go with Dinos. Just sucks that I'm a bad player. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate y'all. You know, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Let me know in the comments below what decks you've been playing recently, and see y'all later.